Phil's first day at DJ Case was March 12, 1990. Now, 30 years later, Phil has the distinction of being DJ Case's first intern, first employee, first vice president, and first co-owner. It was an inauspicious start on that March day. Our office was a 3-bedroom apartment above a print shop. DJ Case was, well, just Phil and me. We were introduced to each other by Dr. Mickey Weeks, a professor we had both studied under at Purdue. Phil was just completing his master's degree in wildlife at the University of Missouri, and he had commented to Mickey that there was lots of ecological science not being used, and it seemed we needed to get better at communicating. Mickey asked Phil, "Have you ever heard of Dave Case?" I offered Phil an internship with no guarantee of a real job, and to my great surprise, he accepted. So Phil moved his family, including his spouse Laura and his 2 young children, Aaron and Justin, to be joined a few years later by Jenny, to Indiana. On Phil's first day, we talked about big conservation ideas and the impact we thought we could have on conservation. But even on an intern salary, there wasn't enough work to pay him. So when time allowed, he worked in the print shop below our office and even painted houses. Thank goodness he's a person of many talents. And fortunately, the odd jobs didn't last long. Phil immediately embarked on some groundbreaking, innovative conservation projects. In 1992, just 2 years after he started, he completed the Indiana Wildlife Viewing Guide. This included raising the funding, working with a steering committee, visiting all of the wildlife viewing sites that were nominated for inclusion, which was tough work, and then writing the guide. And he produced the Hunt Safely campaign for the National Wild Turkey Federation Turkey Hunting Safety Task Force. Phil led development of a whole series of products aimed at reducing turkey hunting accidents. And within another 2 years, by 1994, he had produced the Michigan Wildlife Viewing Guide, facilitated and edited the award-winning Teacher's Guide for the Hooked on Fishing, Not on Drugs program for the Future Fisherman Foundation, which was a huge effort, and edited a habitat handbook for Quail Unlimited. That torrid pace has never let up, and it's been great fun for me to have a ringside seat watching Phil light things up. I could go on and on about his conservation work, but there are a few things that really stand out, and for which Phil really deserves recognition. First, R3, Hunter and Angler Recruitment, Retention, and Reactivation. R3 is a relatively recent term, but even in the early 2000s, there was rising concern about declining numbers of hunters and anglers. And Phil established himself as a national leader, a reputation that continues today. In 2003, he co-edited a handbook and a teacher's guide on best practices in boating, fishing, and aquatic resources stewardship education. This work was done for the Recreational Boating and Fishing Foundation. Then in 2008, Phil facilitated a group of experts from across North America to develop best practices for hunting and shooting recruitment and retention for the National Shooting Sports Foundation. Of course, today, R3 has a real sense of urgency. In fact, a week ago, Phil was in West Virginia working on a statewide R3 plan and conducting media interviews. Second, human dimensions. Dr. Dan Witter joined DJ Case in 2004, and that was a really big step to add social scientists to our staff. Right from the beginning, Phil worked alongside Dan and the HD team. But in particular, Phil really enjoys and is really good at conducting focus groups. He has a real knack for putting people at ease and systematically drawing out insights. He's conducted focus groups with landowners in Indiana on Massasauga rattlesnake conservation, with hunters in the Southwest U.S. regarding California condor conservation, and with landowners in the Great Plains states regarding wetland conservation for the Playa Lakes joint venture. And the joint venture has used those focus group insights as a launching pad for some really, truly innovative, groundbreaking approaches to conservation. In fact, while we're here shooting this video, Phil is on his way to Kansas to conduct focus groups with private landowners regarding conservation. And finally, Kirtland's warbler recovery. The Kirtland's warbler was on the brink of extinction in the 1970s and was one of the first species to be added to the endangered species list. The Kirtland's warbler is this tiny bird that nests primarily in northern lower Michigan in jack pine forests that are only 5 to 23 years old. In fact, it evolved with fire and only nests in these young trees. Then they migrate and spend the winter in the Bahamas. In 1991, Phil and I developed an information and education program for Kirtland's warbler conservation. Over the years, we've been very fortunate to be involved in a variety of Kirtland's warbler projects to help implement that information education plan, including video productions and the Jack Pine Wildlife Viewing Tour. In 2015, Phil facilitated a small group of biologists from the Michigan DNR, U.S. Forest Service, and U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service in writing the Kirtland's Warbler Breeding Range Conservation Plan. Completion of this plan was one of the final steps in the recovery of the Kirtland's warbler. The culmination of all the work by so many people occurred on October 8, 2019, when the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service announced that the Kirtland's warbler had been officially removed from the endangered species list. A pretty cool thing to have been involved in. A lot has changed since Phil joined DJ Case 30 years ago. His children have grown and even had children of their own. Communications and conservation have changed dramatically. But what hasn't changed is Phil's steadiness, his passion, his character. DJ Case wouldn't be what it is today if not for Phil. I know Phil is really proud of the body of work that DJ Case has accomplished. And all of us at DJ Case are proud of Phil and incredibly grateful for his 30 years of dedication. From the bottom of my heart, I want to say thanks, Phil, for your friendship, for the laughs, and most of all, for making this journey with all of us. We can't wait to explore new destinations together.